Oh my god, that was spoopy.
That was a sphincter squeezer, man.
Tighten my butthole a little bit there. Welcome back to another episode of Chaotic Pubcast. I'm one of your hosts, Z Diggity. Joining with me is Ryan Damask, and we have our good friend Raziel back with us to talk more about MMOs, specifically WoW Dragonflight today. How you guys been?
Go ahead, Ryan.
Not too bad, man. I been knee deep in Dragonflight for a couple weeks now, more than I thought I would be. If that's any kind of spoiler alert for what's coming up in this episode.
No, I feel you.
What about
I'm
you?
doing well. Just plugging away. It's nice to be into an expansion and not be like already feeling like, oh, I'm done with this. You know, like it's good.
It's definitely been I think it's definitely for me personally a different experience than Shadowlands. Most definitely was way different than BFA was. I feel like BFA and Shadowlands, they kind of grabbed my interest, but like I don't know if it's because I hopped into raiding, I started playing more, and then Dragonflight launched. I witnessed the state of the game go down, and then Dragonflight launches, and it just feels so much better. You know?
Is it because you're a little dragon boy? Is that what it is?
I like my Dwagon.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, because I liked the beginning of Shadowlands, but I knew going in there were going to be some serious problems because of the systems. The last time, it kind of followed the same pattern of petering out and dying and sucking ass like Cataclysm did, where Cataclysm started out really strong and then just was like a wet fart at the end. But like the last time I felt like, wow, there's lots going on. There's lots for me to do. That I felt this way at the beginning of an expansion was Legion. And now Legion, though, eventually suffered from the same problems of the borrowed power nonsense. And it was one of the most alt unfriendly expansions ever. Yeah. While this has all the same amount of shit to do that Legion had, Dragonflight does, but leveling alts is so easy. And you guys know me, I'm not an alt guy. I rarely play alts at all.
Yeah, you were on an alt.
Yeah, and I already have 3 characters at level 70. So I'm digging how alt friendly it is for sure.
Yeah, I remember jumping in Shadowlands, and I was like, "Oh, they have where you can do the what is it? Was it like
Threads of Fate?
Threads of Fate." And I was like, "Oh, this is awesome! I don't have to play back through that whole story." And then it's like, yeah, but now you have to grind like 40 million dungeons.
And you have to get your legendary.
And I was like, fuck, I would have just gone back and done the story. But at that point, it's too late. Yeah. It won't even let you.
Yep. 100% agree. Yeah. It was, I mean, every expansion has been like that. I mean, look at Vanilla leveling up an alt. There was no shortcuts. Same with Burning Crusade. Same with Wrath of the Lich King. I mean, they did in Wrath lower the amount of XP it took to level up, but there were no shortcuts with gearing up, with doing anything. And I'm somebody that's pretty adamant about the catch-up gear is not my jam per se. Like, I think catch-up gear is cheap. I preferred it better in Burning Crusade, where if you joined a guild or whatever and you just leveled a new character, even if the guild was already like raiding Black Temple, if you wanted to get into raiding with that guild, you would have to join in on their runs to clear Karazhan and clear Serpent Shrine Cavern and clear Gruul and Magtheridon. Because they were still raiding that because that gear was still okay. Like, but you had to go through, no matter what part of the expansion you joined, you had to still go through the same order of raids as everyone else did. Now, I'm not necessarily saying it needs to be that way, but I think a lot of MMOs, WoW especially, gets kind of power happy on like, hey, you're brand new. Everything up to this point doesn't matter. Here's a bunch of free shit. But anyway.
Yeah. I mean, like I can agree with you on that. I think that definitely sits in a weird way with me. Even as a coming back player, and there's like, oh, there's all these catch-up gear opportunities for you. I'm like, well, I feel like they're kind of deleting the point of 2 years of an expansion.
I agree.
You know, but on that note, it is kind of nice. I just I would say maybe reel it back a little bit or something.
I see both sides, right? Because if you don't kind of do like a a soft reset on gear where there is like this catch up period, and there is this kind of large number between item levels of like what matters, so that your gear from the last expansion doesn't matter after a certain point. It's hard to entice people who skipped the last expansion to come back. Like, it feels like more of a catch up you have to do.
Yeah.
So I can play devil's advocate. I kind of see both sides.
I mean, I know we're kind of getting off the trail here a little bit, but I almost think that, like, you remember back in Wrath where like I think that the fact that heroic and that type of shit, that we have 3 difficulties of raiding, 4 if you count looking for raid, which I don't. That's not raiding.
No,
that's literally you don't even have to be alive to in real life
you
to
can go
beat
and
it.
stand in there.
Yeah, but
bots do it.
Yeah, to have multiple raiding difficulties. I mean, obviously it's here to stay. That's never changing. But I think it's dumb. I think you would inflate the item economy much slower. You would reduce how quickly people get powerful. You would reduce as much of a need for catch-up gear. If raids just had one difficulty with hard modes like Ulduar was in Wrath, that you had to unlock in the fight, like in the middle of the fight, you have to do a mechanic a certain way to unlock hard mode. And if you kill it in hard mode, the boss drops 1 or 2 items that are higher item level than the others. That, in my opinion, shows more skill, and it shows that you have a raid team that can think on their feet. And at the same time, like, you don't inflate, because we get 9 different item level tiers in this one raid between all the difficulties.
Yeah.
So it's by the end of the expansion, regardless of how good or bad the expansion is, we're going to be at like item level 600 and something probably. So
most likely,
yeah.
Seriously, by the third, yeah. Traditionally, there's 3 raid tiers, correct? So
yeah, traditionally there's 3 raid tiers. Yeah.
I will say the last thing I'll say, since we are kind of off topic of it, is I think another thing that really kind of digs into that is, like, the second I hit level 70, for the most part, I can just start grinding heroic dungeons with matchmaking,
or fly around and do the rare mobs, get gear that way.
Right. Mm-hmm. It's so easy once you hit cap, or once you hit level cap, to just gear up quick. Like, the fact that all of us got our Mythic World tour week 1, like,
yeah.
And I didn't start till like 3 days into the expansion.
Mm-hmm. No, that's true.
Which might be a next good place to hit on, Z, if you're down, is how we feel about the world, like the world as a whole compared to other expansions.
I think that's a good angle for us to take to move forward, to kind of like keep us in the lanes, as it were. Yeah. But so I know every YouTuber and their dog has said it. It is a nice breath of fresh air to come back to Azeroth. It's things just feel a little,
but yeah.
I mean, kind of in a way, new Azeroth.
Yeah. Just because it's on the Azeroth map.
Yeah, we're not in another dimension or another world or another realm or another planet. Yes, we are on Azeroth.
On the note of that, like, I feel like when they were doing Shadowlands, that they could pull a lot more bullshit with story.
Oh yeah,
because like, we're in the spirit world and nothing matters here,
Same as the Warlords of Draenor, we're in another time period. Yeah,
so we can fuck up on our story all we want. But I feel like now that they're immediately directly, like one step away from Kevin Bacon, directly next to Azeroth, I think they're going to be a lot more careful with any story decisions they make.
I hope so.
Yeah. So I do too. I really do. Like, I think the only cool thing that really happened in Shadowlands, for me at least, was Anduin becoming a Death Knight.
That was really, I mean, it was dumb, but at the same time, it was really cool. Like, it was cliche, but it was really cool. Yeah. That was probably the best fight in the entire last raid, was the Anduin fight. All the other ones were forgettable.
Painsmith. Yeah.
I just mean the final raid tier.
Oh yeah, the final raid tier. I couldn't tell you any boss other than Anduin.
I remember there was some that looked like robot spiders, and that was about it. And the jailer.
I had left at that point.
You didn't miss much, man.
Yeah. Even when I hopped back in and was doing mythics, I was like, I had no interest in the raid at all. I was like, this looks lame.
Yeah, it was.
I think like what I saw, most people I know were just going and doing faded Nathria every week instead of a new raid.
Well, the faded thing that they're going to add, unfortunately, only comes in at the end of every expansion now, because that's usually when the longest content lull is. I think that's a great idea. I thought it was a great success. But as far as the world goes for Dragonflight, it's very, very active, and I think Blizzard has their work cut out for them a little bit, because if it's really good. The content's really good. The dragon flying, the races, the the farming of renown, all the rare spawns, the super rare spawns, the world bosses, the like events like the Rathion area, all that shit is great. But Blizzard has to not let those things become irrelevant later when a new tier comes out. Because if they just let that shit stay old item level, doesn't change, it just sits there, no one's going to do that shit anymore. But my only negative about like the world as a whole was I didn't think they'd do it. And we talked about this in the last podcast that we did, but they put an auction house in the new hub city. So I'm like, there's no fucking reason to ever go back to Orgrimmar, or even though I think they are adding that new trading post and it's only going to be in Stormwind and Orgrimmar. But
I think that'll be their way of bringing people back into it. I honestly think that they had to put the auction house in the hub city, with crafting being as...
Yeah, otherwise they would have had to add all the new crafters and all the new craft stations to the old cities, and
So I think
which they're going to need to do eventually, because these profession changes are here to stay. So they're going to have to do that eventually anyway.
I'm sure they're working on something right now. You know, they're actually more staffed than they've ever been over there at Blizzard. So
true.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think the next, I don't know if it'd be next patch, but I'm sure at some point, since we are back in Azeroth and a lot of the stuff going on in the story does affect the world as a whole.
Finally, yeah.
Hopefully it'll take us out of Dragon Isles and there's shit going on in other zones. Like,
they could do that, because they did do that in BFA with the N'Zoth's corruption events. Like they made you go all over the world. I hope they do that. I really hope they do. For the last tier, most of our time is spent back in Azeroth. Well, it would be cool too if by then they're like, "Hey, by the way, guys, we implemented dragon riding in Azeroth." So,
like, oh my god, like, how wild would that be if they just dropped that bomb on like patch 11?
They would get so that would be one of the best things they could do.
But you're gonna need 7 vigor to get to the top of that sword and syllabus.
yeah. You can't do it with 6. You gotta have 7.
Yeah. Fuck.
Whatever. They'll like just get rid of the sword of Silithus and be like, it didn't happen. Never mind.
It'll just be gone.
We look cool, but then we realized we didn't want to do it
gaslight their player base. That never happened.
Never.
But we are. You're talking about how cool it would be, like, get back in like regular Azeroth, but we all bitch about having to go to Halls of Tyr down in every time.
Yeah, true. It's true. It kind of feels sad, because like you fly past like old shit and you're like, oh, I remember that. Like you fly past like a Cataclysm raid or something that's just sitting there dead. It's like the Twilight Highland one or whatever. And you're just like, I remember when I used to have to fly up to the top of that tower for that raid. And
oh man, it's so pathetic, because that's exactly that. I think you summed up WoW players in a nutshell, though, Ryan or Raz, because it's like, yeah, we want to go back to Azeroth. Man, fuck the fact that I have to go back here. Fucking bullshit.
But if there was dragon flying in Azeroth, it'd be a different story. Like, I can get there so much faster, right? Instead, I have to get back on my slow ass flying mount to get there now.
You're swimming
through the air.
Well, I think for me the biggest thing is where I come to that contradiction, or what seems like a contradiction there, is if they send me back to Azeroth to do one fucking chore, I hate that. But if they make all the zones in Azeroth relevant, then that's fucking great. I mean, literally, if you really look at it, Burning Crusade, right? We were in Outland that had 5 zones or whatever. Wrath of the Lich King, we're in Northrend. What was after Wrath? Cataclysm. We were all on Azeroth again, but they changed the world, but they didn't make it relevant. Only for new players leveling up.
No, it's not true. There was
not as relevant. Yeah, it wasn't as relevant as it was in vanilla. But you have like what was after Mists? You were just on Pandaria. Legion.
I would say Kata did the best job of everything, of bringing you back to Azeroth,
especially if you were a new player. But if you were already near level cap, it didn't do a whole lot for you.
I mean, you had Twilight Highland, it completely morphed all the new zone. I mean, like
true.
Mount Hyjal.
But like, anyway, the point I'm getting to is like almost every expansion has had just one island with 5 zones. I mean, Legion added a whole extra planet, but again, that was just another island.
It was basically an island dressed up as a planet. Yeah.
While like if you look at vanilla, every zone, no matter what level you were, all the time had people in it doing shit. And I honestly don't think it's possible for a theme park MMO like WoW to go back to that. You can't. There's no way to do it.
Yeah, there's no relevant way that they could do it, especially cost effectively. Or without pissing off half the player. Because, and again, like in true WoW player fashion, hypothetically, let's take a hypothetical situation. If Blizzard, for some reason, they wrote into the story being like, okay, well, these zones don't exist anymore because they blew up, or they wrote it in somewhere. So they would essentially make the world a little smaller, but in doing so, make the rest of the zones relevant. I feel like the player base would be like, what the fuck, that's bullshit. We got to keep it there.
I think if they want to do a massive overhaul to the whole planet of Azeroth, the only way they would get away with it is if they made WoW 2 and it was like 3,000 years in the future. Then you can justify land masses changing and looking different. That's the only way they could really do it.
Yeah, otherwise people would bitch about now they can't go farm that one transmog or that one mount or that one title or whatever.
Yeah. Bitch is going to bitch, man.
One thing I kind of wanted to dive into, if we're done with the story,
I'm done.
Segment. Okay. Is we just did the raid last night. We just had at the time of recording this episode, it's the day after our first raid night,
and nobody even died.
Nobody even died. Not on Ernanog. Yeah, we one shot Ernanog. So but ultimately, like, and this might be because like I was actually geared personally, like I had a bit more raid experience behind me, et cetera, et cetera. I was a bit more into this expansion right out the gates than I was with Shadowlands. I had a much better experience with this raid so far than I did with Nathria. Not saying Nathria was bad, because Nathria, in my opinion, was the best raid in Shadowlands. But I had an amazing experience on our raid night. I thought it was dope. I thought it was fun. The fights were fun. It wasn't too overtuned. I didn't feel like it was incredibly undertuned. Maybe maybe our last poll, but
right.
Yeah.
I think another thing about that is this time, even though we don't have the same group of people we had before completely, and we do have some new people that weren't there before, we were coming in as a bunch of, and we kind of knew each other and stuff, but like we go essentially coming in as strangers or groups of strangers, right? Yeah. All together and all trying to learn how we work with each other. And now I didn't feel as much as that. Like we all came into our first raid of this expansion communicating perfectly, had our kind of our rules down, had our roles down. I mean, I think that made a big difference. And then, like you said, we're a little bit more experience under our belt. It hasn't been 10 years since our last raid.
Yeah, we definitely came into this expansion in this raid tier with kind of a leg up over last expansion. Now, as far as like the raid itself, I don't think there's anything particularly special or great about the raid yet. I don't think there's anything bad or shit about the raid yet either.
Yeah,
it seems to be a pretty mediocre raid. Like it's no like, because and how I like gauge that is very, very top end for me. Like 10 out of 10 would raid again is Ulduar, with the worst being probably Blackrock Foundry. I fucking hated that in WoD. I hated that raid. And I'm not counting like the small 2-man or like one boss raids. I just mean like the full on raids. It's so far it's good. It's good. It's fine. But as far as like our raid group, we've definitely got our shit together. We got rid of a lot of problem children that we had from last time. We were very straightforward right out of the gate of what we expected and what we were wanting to achieve, and I think it's worked out great this time around. No drama. So it's fun. And to be honest, like you could have the funnest raid in the world, like best design raid in the world, and if the people you're raiding with are pieces of shit, you're not going to have a fun time.
Yeah.
But if
alternatively,
alternatively, if you have a bunch of guys you love raiding with and it's fun and the raid is dog shit, you're still going to have fun. So,
right.
And that's something that MMOs are ultimately about, is not what the content is, but who you're doing the content with.
Agreed.
Is what makes it fun.
Yeah. I don't know. If Z keeps using that fucking spell to pull me, I'm gonna have a worse time.
Hey, I actually use it to Raz's benefit.
Yeah, he actually helps me with it.
Yeah, like
because I'm playing the wheelchair class, so he pulls me over.
I pull you into the mobs. Yeah,
yeah.
It's funny. He pulls me into the mobs too.
Well, now you know what it feels like. What I felt like all last expansion when Brex was playing his priest.
Oh my god, Brex!
He's just life gripping me everywhere.
Oh my god, I love it. I love that I can get a little like he didn't do it to me at all in the last tier, but it's nice to just get him a little taste of his own medicine.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
That is the one thing about my class, Rest of the like nothing's really changed, which is in one way kind of good because I know what to do, like it's just coming natural, but in another way it's like kind of boring not having that much change. Like I have like one new ability. Like I even still have Convoke, which was like a Shadowlands thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, every single class spec got one, like whatever class, right? Like whatever class used was their covenant was the most popular, got put into the talent tree. So obviously druids, 99% of druids went Convoke, and like almost there's like 70% of DKs were Maldraxxus, so they had the slappy hands, so they threw that into the talent tree. So whatever one was the most popular, they just shoved into the talent tree, which I'm okay with. Which
I'm not complaining. I fucking love it.
Yeah, how do you guys like the talent tree system now that we played with it compared to how it was?
Dude, like I think it's opened up the game. Honestly, I would like to attribute me being better at the game to the talent tree, like. Because the way I've always kind of built my talent trees is I'll look at some online references to get a little basic template, but then I'll play it and then, okay, I don't like this. I'm going to pull this out, put this in here because this fits my personal play style. Is my build the meta build? Absolutely not. But I do better with my build because that's how I play.
Exactly.
And I fucking love it. So,
right.
Yeah, I felt the same way. I will say, like, I kind of built my own and liked how it played. And then before raid last night, I went and looked at like the top tier one for raid, and I just pulled that in, and it's a little different. Like I don't have some of my moves and stuff, and so it's kind of awkward for me. I think maybe I just need to play it more. What I can say about the talent tree as a whole, coming into it fresh, it was just very overwhelming. Not having just 3 choices per line, right? Like now it's a whole tree. But I do think it gives you a lot more freedom and flexibility with your class and doesn't make them so cookie cutter.
Yeah, I mean, I was switching between shit all the time, depending on when we were on trash or when we were on a boss with ads or when we were on a single target boss.
I do like that you can just change whenever.
Yep. My only complaint is they need to give us more save slots for presets because you only get, I think,
4 or 5,
3 or 4 per spec to save, and I'm like, dude, give us like 10 per spec.
Just keep a little notepad document open with those import strings.
You could do that too, but it should be in the fucking game.
It should be in the game, and it's not hard to do.
And I imagine they'll add more as time goes on. They'll add more.
I'm sure that's a number one complaint. It's kind of like I knew for a fact this would happen based off of the night we did the LAN party. It was one of the first things that we said is like, dude, how can they throw this many side quests at us and still have our quest log be only 20 full?
And they're increasing it. They increased it to 35 on Tuesday.
Thank goodness.
But still, I agree. There's a couple things that are still, you can tell, very 18 years old and need to be updated. But speaking of the LAN party, that was awesome, right?
Oh my god, yeah. Ryan, you missed out on the LAN party.
I'll be at the next one.
We had a bunch of dudes, man. A bunch of dudes ripping ass and playing games.
Dude, it was fun. It was like we definitely got into full like gamer mode. Like it went into 5:30 in the morning. It starts dumping snow. Vrex is sitting there wondering how he's going to get home. I'm just like, I need to sleep regardless.
Yeah.
And then freaking Zol stayed up all fucking, just stayed up, and I fell asleep to the
That
clickety
guy doesn't
clackety.
sleep, dude.
Dude,
Mm-mm.
how is he alive? At this point?
I've asked him several times. I'm like, dude, how do you function? Because, and he even has 2 kids, and he does that at home when he's at home. Like, I'll get up for work, right? Like, I'm up for work like at 5:30, 6 a.m. and my Blizzard thing will pop up saying he's online playing. I'm like, what the fuck, man? Why aren't you asleep? Like,
seriously, he's not human. He's
not. No.
Yeah. But yeah, we want to kind of do another one of those.
Oh, for sure. Second raid tier.
We're aiming on for the second raid tier, right? So you should you should fly down.
Yeah, I'm excited for it, man. I don't know. I'm just having a ton of fun. Like I said, you guys opening night were land partying. You guys, Raz, you hit level cap by 4 a.m. or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like 11 hours total, I think.
Dude, all the way up until launch, I was like, I want to play. Not even because it's WoW, not even because of the new expansion, because I wanted to come back and play with you guys. I wanted to come raid with you guys. Like, that was like my selling point. But I was still sitting there like, I don't know if I can put in the time commitment. I don't know if like I can commit this much time to one game. I got so much other stuff going on. And I was still like that when it launched. And that's why it took me a day or two. And finally I was like, all right, man, I already bought the expansion stuff. I'll jump in. And literally from the day I jumped in, I've been on that game every day. That is how good this expansion is.
Funny how you figure out how like the time you thought you didn't have suddenly materializes when you like the game, right?
No, I still don't have the
No,
time.
like that's why it's part of the reason we're on an editing crunch this week.
Right. A lot of other sacrifices going on.
Hey, it's worth it, man.
No, well,
got to get them purples.
Well, we're making it work. Like, we're making it work. Because when you mentioned that we were kind of getting the band back together, that was the first thing that popped in my head. I was like, I don't think I fucking have time between the podcast and the stream, 2 jobs now, and trying to be a good husband.
Right.
Yeah. But then I just kind of made the decision in my head, at least, that it was like, you know what? I'll fucking make this work. I'll figure it out. You know?
Yeah.
And miraculously it's been going so far. But we'll see how we are come heroic progression. So
yeah, I mean, I think the entire raid tier this time around is going to not be near as much of a hassle. I mean, for starters, Nathria was overtuned when it came out dramatically.
Yeah, it was a hard one to come back into.
And I mean, like when we did heroic, what was that stupid one with the dogs? We were on that fight all fucking night.
Huntsman.
Yeah, Huntsman. Yeah. And it was overtuned, and our group was underexperienced. Undergeared, and now we're geared, we're experienced, and it's not an overtuned, broken raid. So I think we'll be okay. I mean, we'll have our struggles, but I don't think AOTC is going to be any sort of a problem for our group.
No.
Yeah, if this would have been the Shadowlands us group coming into this, we would have got maybe 2 bosses down last night. I mean, like, I think I see things going really well. I think the only reason we didn't get further last night was just because honestly we just ran out of time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we were on a roll. So
yeah,
I see good things coming for this expansion from our group.
I agree.
So I know I mentioned during the raid the before we raided like an officer chat, I mentioned that the spider boss is going to give us a little bit of hell because of just how weird the mechanics are, and it did. We wiped like 3 times on that thing before.
I think we wiped like 5 times,
5 or 6, 5 or 6 times. Yeah. But I'll tell you,
10 or 12.
The chaos of that fight is so much fucking fun.
It's a fun fight.
I just remember the one moment where I got Gossamer threaded and pulled in, and like literally I had a toe on the edge, still on the edge.
I saw that. You were standing right in front of me by the boss. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah.
It was just like, if in my head canon of how it went down, I'm like literally holding on to the arm,
Yeah. It's so far out of all the fights we've done. I think that one is probably the most interesting fight so far, mechanically speaking. But I think we're going to get a wake up call when we do the wind boss we're on now that we only got 3 attempts on. that on heroic, I think, is gonna be tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched a few some pretty cool evoker vids on that fight specifically of like evokers, people getting stuck on that upper platform and rescuing the people off the platform and everything. And
Oh, nice.
I'm excited. Yeah, so like I've been kind of gearing up for that heroic fight. I'm pretty stoked for it.
It's gonna be fun. Yeah.
He's like, I get to use my abilities.
Something other than trolling. I could be
Yeah.
a hero.
Dude, the other thing, you guys are cool with it, that I fucking love so far about this expansion is crafting is relevant. It's actually relevant.
It's not just relevant, but it's really fucking good. Like,
yeah,
it's the quality of components, the inspiration when you craft all that stuff. I've said this on my stream, both the last 2 streams I've done, because I've always talked about how great crafting was in Final Fantasy 14. It's like been the best any MMO has had for a long ass time. WoW's is better now. WoW's is better than Final Fantasy 14's.
Wow.
Especially
No pun
since
intended.
the last expansion, Square dumbed down the crafting a little bit because it was too complex. But well, they thought it was too complex. Again, it's subjective if you agree with that or not. But I think I crafted in two or three of the expansions of 14. Not a lot. I wasn't a hardcore crafter, but I still got into it a little bit. And WoW's crafting now is way better. It's way better.
There is some tuning that needs to be done to ingredient costs, stuff like that, because
Sure.
I mean, or there's some balance in the economy that needs to happen. Some
Right.
stuff's easier to just buy on the auction house than it is to buy the ingredients or go collect the ingredients to make
I agree.
things.
Yeah, and
But-
that's definitely hard to manage. That I can see how even from. I mean, I know. Oh my God, I'm defending Blizzard here, but I can see how that's
sure.
really tough to manage.
Of course.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I understand the 2-week lockout on the spark of ingenuity, which is what you need to make like pretty much everything over.
It's really good.
Yeah. And I get why they do that, so people don't just go out and like farm those. And
Well, and the cap will be removed eventually. Like I think it's after like week 6, you can freely get like 1 a week. I think.
Actually, I think it's going to be after week 10. I think they're doing that.
Could be that.
For 5
Yeah.
2-week increments,
Right?
and then and that's when you
yeah.
can start getting the primal infusions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Do you know if Blizzard has like a team dedicated to managing the game's economy?
They do have an economy wrap up that's official from Blizzard, so I assume if there is a team there involved with that. But
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest though, the amount of fucks that they're even able to give is relatively low since the WoW token is a thing.
I guess that's true.
So it's
They're like, yeah, if there's shit selling for 1.2, 1.2, which by the way, the BOEs right now dropping from heroics are selling for 1.5 mil.
yeah. You
I
thought
saw one for
inflation
2.5.
in real life was bad. Look at vanilla WoW, and the most expensive epic sword, Destiny, was going for like $3,000, and people were like, "What the fuck? How can I afford that?" Now I'm like, just to get my raid consumables for the week, I drop $100,000. All right,
Yeah, exactly.
that's inflation, man.
I was like, let me go buy 20 feet. So what is that, like 15K?
Yeah.
That's fine, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. That's cheap.
That was back in chat.
We're so dumb we don't know the value of our gold is worthless now.
Yeah. It's like I was like,
Oh
I'm
my
doing
God,
the math
but-
in my head. I'm like, oh, that's like
Gold
It's
is
like
copper
three-
now.
yeah, it's
Look-
$3.
Look, this
Real
is
money.
coming. This is coming from the guy. This is coming from the guy in raids. I'm talking to you, Ryan, in raids, who would draw pictures with the gluttonous feasts of hedonism. Only 1,500 gold apiece, really.
Yeah. Drop penises with feasts.
Drawing dicks with beasts. In it.
Yeah.
But now they made them small and round. I can't do anything with
Oh,
that.
now you can do more precise. You can do more
Yeah.
precise. It's like a smaller brush.
Now the balls will actually be circles.
I liked my abstract line work with the gluttonous feast.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a fun time. So I guess the next thing I wanted to go into is speculation of the stories, because we talked about how we're thinking the story's going. you mentioned, I'll actually give you credit for this. You mentioned, Raz, that Galakrond will be the end bad guy. I agree with you. Now, I imagine this raid tier we are going to lose. She is going to release the rest of the primalists, and then they're going to be the bosses that we fight. And I personally think, I do think that they're going to be trying to bring Galakrond back. So,
I mean, you want to go first, Ryan, or do you want me to go? Because I've definitely got my theories here.
Yeah, you know a lot more WoW
Okay.
lore than me, so please.
So I think obviously in this raid we're going to kill Razageth.
Yeah.
She's going to die. And then I think the other two primalist dragons will kind of go ape shit and be like, all right, well, we got to, figure out, because they are trying to resurrect Galakrond. I don't think they're trying to resurrect him, like bring him back from the dead. I think they're going to find a way to manipulate the bronze dragonflight to get him, pull him through time.
Horizont.
Right. So I think that the next raid tier, I don't know which raid tier it'll be. I'm guessing the next raid tier, though, if I had to put money on it, is going to be a time travel themed gold dragonflight, bronze dragonflight, like themed raid where we're going in time to try to stop them, and try to also figure out how to prevent Dormo from becoming Mirazond, because that was mentioned in the leveling up process.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be some kind of time travel themed thing with the bronze dragonflight, because they're also trying to resurrect Tyr. Tyr had forethought and made a body for himself, but they got to find the discs that were in Uldaman to restore his soul to his body. Because if those of you who aren't WoW lore nerds, Tyr actually was killed way before, back in the day, before they're like the regular sized humans were in Azeroth. They were still the Valkyr. What are they called? Not Valkyr.
Vracrul or something like that.
Vracrul, yeah. And when Tyr died, where his body was and where they buried him became the Tyrus Fall Glades. That's where like Undercity and stuff is. That's where so he's like as close to a Titan being on actual Azeroth has ever been. He's still just a Watcher, but he's the most Titan-y Titan thing that was ever on Azeroth. And our Dragonflight, it kind of lines up. All the Dragonflights are trying to bring him back, while the Primalists, are trying to bring back Galakrond through time. And I think that's going to collide in the next patch, and it's going to be a time travel theme. And then, of course, I think no matter what we do in that time travel patch, it's going to ultimately fail, and Galakrond will be brought back, and he'll be the third patch, the raid tour, where we actually have to fight him. So
that would be really so. The whole last leg of the leveling up story, where you're in the bronze dragonflight area and you're going back to like all
best
the
part of the expansion, man.
Dude, yeah, that has to be like a whole patch where we're just going back and doing like old content with like different
Murlocs.
Yeah, I want a whole Murloc Azeroth.
Yeah. I literally would love it if they shook it up and did because obviously I can see it now, and I'm going to predict this now. Whether it's the next patch or the final patch, I don't know, but I'm predicting it now. You heard it here first. The raid, the time themed raid, every wing will be in a different timeline. So the bosses won't all line up to each other like they're all dragons or they're all elementals. No, it's you go in this wing and it's this time period of Azeroth. You go in this wing and it's this time period, and you're fighting shit from different times. Could even be different times of actual World of Warcraft, but I think most of it's going to be from times that we never played, even before Warcraft 1 and 2. Yeah.
Really
I would,
cool, dude.
Yeah. I would almost argue that they would because they it would be on brand and on theme with them bringing back old content and old dungeons into Mythic Plus. That maybe that was the raid where they'll assign retuned and upgraded versions of old raids.
That would be cool too.
But mixed up, and there's differences to it, right?
Sure, because the people that are invading time, which is namely the Infinite Dragonflight, is fucking with things. I mean, literally, when was the last time there was a dungeon? There's never been a raid, but when's the last time there was a dungeon where one of the bosses was Infinite Dragonflight? It was all the Caverns of Time dungeons, right? All the Caverns of Time raids and dungeons were Infinite Dragonflight fucking with things. It's been a long time since we had any content from the Caverns of Time. So I think it's great. I love if nostalgia, if it's done right, is so fucking good for a player base. It's so healthy for a game. if you do it well. And the only way that Blizzard can fuck this up, and they're definitely not beyond fucking this up, is if while messing with timelines, they start retconning fucking shit.
Yeah,
like
which
where they're like, oh, it never happened that way. Actually, it did.
They can retcon Shadowlands.
Did you play? Yeah, did you play Warcraft 2 though? But if they start fucking with Warcraft 1, 2, and 3 stories, that's where I have a
they
problem.
can leave those alone. But they can fuck with Shadowlands a little bit.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
I mean,
maybe
we still
Warlords
need
of Draenor, get rid of that. You know?
And there's still going to be at some point during the next 2 patches, Ysera coming back from Shadowlands since we revived her in Shadowlands. She's got to come back and lead the Green Dragonflight. So
yeah, they basically set that up.
There is no Green Dragonflight leader right now.
No, maybe we can bring back Azure. Maybe we can bring back the Blues.
Kalecgos is the leading aspect of that.
Kalecgos. Yeah, Malygos is dead. Kalecgos is leading blue. Obviously, Red Dragonflight still Alexstrasza. And here's the thing. I do like the power struggle that's going on with the Black Dragonflight. Because for the longest time, I thought that Rathion was the only non-corrupted still living Black Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And who is
this? What's his name? Synagos?
Sibelian, yeah.
So
he's Rathion's older brother.
And direct son of Deathwing.
But
has he been brought up before?
So he's the dragon that was in charge in Burning Crusade. He's the dragon that had all the dragons in Blades Edge Mountains. The ones fighting Gruul the Dragon Killer. So he was there. He fucked off to Outland after he realized he played a part in the corruption of his father. And so he kind of escaped the Aspect's judgment by going to Outlands and setting up his own Black Dragonflight that's not corrupted there.
Yeah.
And then after the Dragon Isles woke up, he left Outland with his brood and came back to take back, because he didn't even know Rathion was really around.
Yeah, and because he was...
I haven't pledged any to him yet, because I didn't know who the fuck he was. And
I'm Team Rathion, man. I'm Team Rathion, man.
I'm Team Rathion, too.
I've already seen what he's done for Azeroth. So
I dove down the rabbit hole of Sibelian as well into it, and yeah, he apparently because he was an Outland, he wasn't touched by the corruption too,
Mm-hmm.
and so I do like that they're delving into it, and you will walk by him in Burning Crusade and not even know he's a character. I think he goes by the name of Baron Sablemain,
yeah,
or something. But no, because when Sibelian showed up in Dragonflight, I was like, who the fuck is he? I don't know who he is. So,
and I'm guessing that one of the 2 dragons, Rathion or Sibelian, are going to die in this expansion trying to defend something. That's my prediction. One of them is going to die. I don't think it'll be Rathion, because Blizzard's just invested too much in his character.
I think so. I think you're right.
And Rathion, I mean, Sibelian is definitely more mature than Rathion. He's less hot-headed. He's smarter, because he's experienced more, but I think Rathion has the passion and actually gives a fuck. I think Sibelian has ulterior motives. That's just my opinion.
And we all love Rathion.
Yeah. Well, he's the shit. I mean, that scene, and the only good cut scene in Battle for Azeroth, where he fights N'Zoth with his own dagger.
Yeah, that's fucking
stabs him with it.
I remember that.
That's a good point. Hold on. So they're fighting over who's going to be there. So that's got to be a content piece at some point.
Right. I don't think it'll translate to a whole raid or anything like that. We might get a dungeon out of that maybe. But Blizzard hasn't added new dungeons during an expansion for years. So I think you're going to get a scenario, a big quest line, another world event that you have to build rep or something for once they are deciding things. But I think ultimately, my guess is, by the end of the expansion, Sibelian's going to sacrifice himself to help everybody, and Rathion's going to lead the Black Dragonflight. That's just what I think.
Yeah. I think they're setting up Chromie to be the leader of the Bronze.
I think they're going to find a way to make Nozdormu not become Murozond. I think they're going to figure out a way. I think he's also too important of a character, and Chromie already serves too well of a purpose with where they've placed her. So,
well, I mean, would you say this though? They're training up that Drakthir as a new timekeeper, essentially, on that quest line. So maybe there'll be just a shift in power if it doesn't go, if they don't prevent Nozdormu becoming Murozond.
True. I mean, obviously the players are going to be the ones that figure out how to prevent him from becoming Nozdormu, but we get thrown out. So the credit is going to be given to Chromie. She is going to be the one that figures out how to stop it.
Dragon Master, you saved me. And then Chromie shows.
Thank God I haven't been called Dragon Master or Dragon Lord this fucking time.
I was really hoping they would. They still call you champion, but it's
but they've done that since after
Right.
Wrath.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with Champion, because Champion I just translate to a very experienced adventurer. Like, but when they're like Dragon Rider, Maul Walker, Jesus Christ, save us! Like, dude, my eyes are glowing blue. I have a big sword, and I'm an orc that smells like shit. I'm undead, literally. You think I'm like Jesus?
That's what's always so funny in these stories, though, right? Like, we've beat gods, we beat everything,
Mhm.
and it's like, we need you to go out there and hunt 6 rabbits.
Yeah, well, we had the moment in
Please,
Z.
champion.
Yeah, Z, if you remember, we had that moment in the LAN party where I just, like, it was kind of quiet. We were all just punching away at the keyboards, and I said, "Oh, that's great." And you were like, "What happened?" And I said, "I just got my mace that I took off the body of the jailer replaced by a fucking grain that this farmer gave me." Like, look at that shit weapon you're using, hero. Take this. Gives me a rake, and it's stronger than the fucking mace that the god of the dead was using.
Hey, fuck you! That shit's free. I made it.
Yeah. How I justify it in my head is, I'm like, all the shit I got in Shadowlands that literally came from like gods of death only works and is only powerful in the Shadowlands. When it's in the material corporeal world, it doesn't have its power.
Tennis racket. It's a fucking tennis racket.
That's how I justified it. How I justified all the expansions before, I just pretend it wasn't there.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, but that's kind of that Viva La Dirt League thing where the guy's like, a new expansion comes out and he's like, here's all this stronger armor, and he's like, I look level 1. And he's like, nah, you look really powerful, man.
Ah, man, you look great.
Yeah.
As the NPC's just laughing at you.
Yeah.
Oh God. All right. Fuck you. That shit's free. I made it.
Yeah.
Just the farmer's just yelling at you.
Yeah, he's like, here's this sword, man. Wow, it's got better stats than the Harbinger's.
That's the last thing I'll say. So far, all the pieces of gear I've seen this expansion, besides those ones I was talking to you about today, the ones you get from like the elemental dust from like the outbreaks or whatever, the rest of the gear kind of looks like shit.
No, I agree.
I don't like any of the gear pieces so far.
The art, and it's subjective, but the art styles for this raid tier and for like the opening, there's a couple pieces that are sick as fuck, but I would say the vast majority are just ugly as all hell. Like the DK tier set looks so terrible, but I think that's kind of what we get when we go into an expansion starting out with all rocks and like element based.
Yeah, okay.
And if it's element based, everybody's gonna look like a fucking shaman, dude. This is how it is.
And over in Shadowlands, everybody looked like a fucking Death Knight. So.
Dude,
yeah, exactly.
Well, no, it depended which faction you went
to.
Yeah,
True. I agree with that. The art team, and I can tell there were parts of Dragonflight that were definitely rushed. They just definitely got shit done because Shadowlands was so bad. They're like, we've got to get something.
We got to get these guys out of
here.
But
hey, man, if the next tier is Bronze Dragonflight time themed, that opens the window for a lot of cool looking shit.
Yeah,
because it can come from anywhere. How do you follow the theme of time? Make anything the fuck you want from any other expansion.
I'm gonna get some Destiny armor.
Like, you remember back in this is a perfect opportunity, and I've said this before, not related to this, but one of the coolest things they did back in Legion was when they redid the Black Temple tier sets and updated them, and they were the tier sets in, I think it was Tomb of Sargeras. It was one of the Legion raids, and they looked so fucking cool. And I was like, dude, how perfect of a time would it be for them to go back to grab tier sets from Nax or from old raids and completely remodel them and redo them and like put more effects on them and then re-release them as in the time raid. That would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be dope. That would be fucking dope if they did that.
Hear that, Blizzard? Give me the Scourgeborn set. Give me the Scourgeborn set, you son of a bitch. I want it. I want an updated model of Scourgeborn.
We'll send an email for you on behalf of the
angry. Make sure it's angry.
Well, all caps at Reddit.
Include some anthrax.
Managers.
I'll get banned again.
Oh man. Cool. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on as far as like story speculation goes before we start winding down?
I'm good. I'm
good.
Those are my predictions.
Well,
I don't think we'll see Anduin again
I-
till the
I
very end of the last patch, beginning of next expansion.
It's
I
a
think he's fucked
Battle
off.
of Light or whatever it's
Mhm.
going to be. I think it's going to be. A
I
light
really
theme
hope we never
expansion.
see Sylvanas again.
We
Just
will.
don't. We
She'll
will,
be
of
back.
course.
We
That
will.
was in next
Okay.
expansion. I was into Shadowlands for 1,000,000 years.
Yeah, she'll probably
Okay.
show up this expansion. So
Please, God, no.
She
get
will.
crucified by everybody.
If she shows up in Dragonflight,
they need to.
Blizzard will be shooting themselves right in the junk.
They
And they
need
know
to.
it. I think they know it too.
They need to let her be gone for a few years. So
I think if I was Blizzard, obviously they can't keep her gone forever. But if I was Blizzard, I wouldn't bring her back till the middle or end of next expansion.
yeah,
Shadowlands
exactly.
2.
Shadowlands.
The shadowing,
Return of the Jailer.
the landing strike,
The new robot jailer.
T2 Jailer's Reckoning.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Find Jailer Day. Find the fart of Arthas. Restore him to his full form in your artifact weapon.
The fartening.
God,
On that note-
I'm still butthurt. I'm still salty about how they treated Arthas's character.
Yeah,
But I'll
you
let it
know,
go.
They'll probably find some way to correct it.
Now, he's
Yeah.
gone.
In the time raid.
In
In
the
the
time
time
raid, you
raid.
fight Arthas and save him.
And save him from his fart.
Like,
face.
dude, if you wanted to save Arthas, Shadowlands was the expansion to fucking do it. His soul was literally in the maw. God, whatever.
Lord.
Arthas,
Raz,
they need to leave Arthas and Illidan alone. Just leave him alone.
Raz, before we wind down, do you want to shout yourself out? Give us promote
Oh,
the yeah.
Yeah, sure. So Game and Musings with Raziel. I have a YouTube channel and I stream on YouTube and Twitch. I do restream and stream on both. So whichever platform you prefer. I usually stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but I don't have a set in stone schedule because I just don't want one right now because I'm dealing with shit. So, but yeah, you can catch me anytime if you leave messages on any of my videos. I read all the content. I do post and I'm going live on Twitter. But that's the only reason I use Twitter, really. But yeah.
Any videos coming up that we should be looking forward to?
This one's gonna go on my channel. Never
Exactly.
watched
Yeah,
right
this
now.
one right here.
I've got a couple things in the works, but nothing set
What a
in stone.
mooch.
Because like you, if anyone who watches any of my shit knows, I don't make videos just to clickbait and have something to get people
I don't know.
watching.
I've seen your video titles.
Well, I clickbait my thumbnails because that's just business. That's good business. Okay. But I only make a video if I actually have something I want to talk about. I don't
Yeah.
report the news. I don't read patch notes. I
don't
just
read patch notes. Patch
Yeah.
notes read me.
yeah, like live letter. Let's read it. Like no, I if I have something to say, a topic I actually want to discuss, I'll make a video. But I don't make that DSP level shit. Right.
DSP level shit.
Yeah,
All
Yeah.
right. Well, Raz, thank you for taking the time to join us. I know you're
Yeah,
going.
thanks for
through
having
shit.
me, man.
Dude. We'll have you back anytime.
Yeah, I
So,
love it. It's a
If,
good
you,
time.
if you're just bored and need to scream into the void for a bit, you're always welcome here.
Yeah, when are we
So,
doing that? When are we doing that paranormal video
As soon as
podcast?
Probably soon.
Yeah,
Right
I'm
at the
in,
start of
man.
the year.
Yeah,
I'm in.
let's make it
Paranormal.
happen.
And then,
Paranormal.
I have a little bit of a surprise announcement. Raz, you can cut this out of your cut. But Z doesn't know this. But
You coming
for a-
out of the closet, man?
for a special holiday announcement, we have a special merch offer. We're gonna finally put the Capri Sun shirt in the store.
We're putting the Capri Sun shirt in store. You sandbagging son of a bitch.
Nice.
Well, now I
Fuck
got to
you,
order
Kool-Aid.
one. Now I got to order. Fuck you, Kool-Aid. Oh,
Nice.
good lord.
Nice.
All right, let's wind this down. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have stuck with us this long, thank you so much. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to help us fight the algorithm monster. Please check out Raziel at GMW Game. Is it game full game using?
You can type GMW Raziel or Game Musings with Raziel, and you'll find me
Find him
on both
Twitch.
platforms.
It's in the
Twitch and
description.
YouTube.
Why are we doing this?
I don't
It's
know.
in the description. It's right
It's
there.
it's there
Dude.
too.
Just let me have things, okay? Just let me have things, okay? Anyway. All right, I'm finished. Thank you,
Yeah.
everybody. Have a good day.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. Keep it real, everybody.